Hey folks, welcome back to another day of Nofap life. A few things I want to talk about. One of them is kind of multifold, but the few things I want to talk about are the desire or need for Ex-Stasis, rejecting the dominance hierarchy, and projecting blame onto porn. Now, um, it's around evening time today, and today's been a little bit different for me because I actually decided to start with the exercise program in the morning, and that led to an epiphany of sorts, and that I had, and that's where like the first topic comes from, the whole desire or need for ecstasis. Now, ecstasis is basically getting out of the state that you're in, emotionally, physically, what have you, and for the longest time before I got on this, success of quitting porn and quitting pornography addiction or what have you, the PMO addiction. Before I got onto that, I was essentially using PMO to get out of the state that I was in, being so stressed out or anxious or depressed about life or what have you. I was, using PMO. It's like, okay, I can run out to PMO fantasy land and where nothing matters, everything's great, and I can get out of this emotional state that I'm in. But once I started realizing what was actually causing me to feel like that, and I made that decision that, at the time, hard decision to, start actually like confronting those things and overcoming them, and realizing what PMO really was to me, that it was just, a coping mechanism run amok. And, I feel that, that kind of thing, PMO is one of those things that, like I said in the past, like, I don't feel there's any real way to make it a positive thing. And obviously for some people more than others, it's more likely to become an addiction. But that being said, we all want to get out of the state we're in if we're in the negative emotional state. And this kind of ties in with the idea of instant gratification, that you want to get that feeling, that good feeling right now, as opposed to having to work for it. And this morning I decided to go work for it. I decided to go and do 200 reps of calisthenics. Now, I still have 150 more to do to complete the whole calisthenics portion of the program for the day. And then I'm going to go do a 3-mile run. But I've gotten the ball rolling, and in doing that, I realized, hey, I can get myself out of the state without having to, once again go back to PMO, and that's what I've been doing for the last 115 days, 175 days or so, depending upon you're talking about hard mode or easy mode. But that was kind of like me actually doing like a physical manifestation of that whole realization. Now, the other two things I want to talk about was rejecting the dominance hierarchy and projecting blame onto porn. This is where you get into the dominance hierarchy idea. As we get into the alpha, beta, etc. Status, alpha male, beta male, etc. Alpha female, beta female, and so on. And I find that it's like, with all due respect, I find that that sort of obsession with that to be, maybe at this point in my life, since I've gotten as far as I've gotten, I look back on it and I see my past self to a certain extent, and I find some of that stuff kind of frustrating, I guess, because I think the real deal with all of that is the difference between being secure in yourself and being insecure in yourself. And once you're secure in yourself, it really doesn't, I don't think it really has much of an effect on you. Like, at this point in time, I'm feeling far more secure in myself. So, whether or not, I don't know, like, a girl just wants to be friends with me or not, or whether or not, things like that occur in life, it doesn't as much affect me because I have more of my purpose, my drive in my life, and I'm more focused on just taking care of myself, and not to the extent of being like so self-centered and narcissistic, but in the healthy sense. And the problem I find, like I said, is that it's about being secure versus insecure within yourself. And I think that what else? I think the key is to find something that you can build yourself up with, and that is working on your physique, working out. That's what's making you insecure. Then you work on that. If it's your finances, you work on that. If it's your social skills, then you work on that. But I think I just fundamentally have an issue with like living one's life in such a manner that you're trying to seek approval from others, you know, find validation in others. Because, you know, for one thing, I don't feel that's other people's job. Whether you're talking about a girl's validating you by being your girlfriend or dating you or looking up to you, or telling you how manly you are or how handsome you are or how funny you are or what have you, or it's, I don't know, like your parents had to tell you how good of a person you are or what have you, or how proud of you they are. Now, that's not to say that gaining recognition or gaining, you know, awards or setting goals and accomplishing them and gaining some sort of feedback from that, you know, should be completely thrown out the window. But I just feel when you take it to an extreme where you're on this whole sort of alpha male versus beta male, oh, I'm so alpha right now, it feels to me like it's coming from a point of weakness, you know, coming from a point of obsession. And the key is to just focus on your own self-development, and things will fall into place naturally. As you know, the chips will fall wherever they may, and they will fall into place as a result of that. So, you know, rejecting the dominance hierarchy, getting rid of the whole alpha male versus beta male dichotomy, which, you know, in reality does not exist, I don't feel. And I feel that, I mean, even if you could say there are alpha and beta characteristics, there are times when one over the other is better. You know, people want to, I think, place an emphasis on just being alpha all the time, and oh, I don't take, you know, anything from, I don't take, you know, any, I don't take crap from anybody, and, you know, I'm my own, you know, I'm my own man, you know, I don't need anybody or what have you. And, you know, in moderation, you know, that's all right, because it's like you have self-respect and you have your own purpose and your own drive and your own goals in life. But you take that to an extreme, it's just as bad as taking the beta characteristics to an extreme, where you're just, you know, basically being like a doormat for people, you know. And you got to find that middle road, which for me is the process of breaking out of the hierarchy and just rejecting it, and understanding that you have to kind of like be flexible and be adaptable, you know, not try to focus on one thing too much or another. But that being said, hope I made my point with those two. The final one I really wanted to cover was this whole idea of blaming pornography. And, you know, this is something that I found myself doing, I think, when I really first started off with you know, Nofap or no PMO. You know, where what I did was called reification, where you take something that's inanimate, that's not an actual person or human being, and you start to assign to it human characteristics or human-like characteristics. Like when people talk about the, you know, they talk about the economy and they say the economy tanked, or the economy is going up, or the economy is going down, or the economy is good, or the economy is bad. You know, they're taking something that's inanimate, that's not a human being, that doesn't have feelings or make decisions or what have you, you know, or doesn't do anything in a sense, you know, in the sense of a human doing something, and they try to assign to it, you know, these human-like characteristics. And it's like, I guess, an attempt to make sense of things. But, you know, when it comes to like no PMO, for instance, pornography is not making you relapse. Pornography is not making you socially awkward. Pornography is not making you a wimp. You know, we make the decision to watch this kind of stuff. We make the decision to consume the content that is pornography. And it's a hard thing to have to deal with at first, because it's kind of like redirecting that negativity upon yourself. And, you know, it can hurt at first, in a sense, emotionally speaking, but you really have to realize that it's not the pornography, it's you. And I'm not saying like you in the sense of that you're a bad person or you're flawed or something. It's just the fact that we are the ones making the decision to actually engage in this kind of stuff. And once we realize that, and once we start asking ourselves the questions of, you know, why, when I rationally, scientifically, factually know that this activity, this behavior is not doing me any real good, and it's actually doing me a lot of bad, what is it that's making me just have to go and do this? What are the reasons that I'm giving myself for why I have to relapse, why I have to PMO, why I have to FAP, why I have to, etc., etc., etc. And once you start doing that and start realizing what's really behind it, you will start to make progress. That's, you know, one of the reasons why I'd say it's probably the biggest reason why I've gone to 115 days of hard mode, 175 days of easy mode, is that I started really doing that. And it's an ongoing process. It's not something that just, poof, ends and you can never ever end up going back. But once you get over that hurdle and you start making that progress, it's kind of like they say, it's all downhill from here in the good sense. So I think that's it for me right now. I hope I haven't, garbled my words too much. And I think that's what I want to cover for today. It's day 115 hard mode, day 175 easy mode, and I'll see you folks around. Thanks for following my channel. Thanks for watching my content. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you folks around. Good luck. Bye.